about our testimony today. So testimony, kind of like telling your story. And most of us in our culture really like stories. Like, we have movies and books, and we like to tell each other our stories and things like that. Stories is a really important part of our culture. So what are some favorite stories that you guys have? It could be from a movie or a book, even a video game, something like that. What are some favorite stories that you like to read or hear or tell? You guys gotta have something.
Cinderella.
Cinderella. Look at that. The Fault in Your Stars. It's a very popular one right now. What else? Divergent. Also very popular. One of my favorite stories is Pride and Prejudice. I like that one a lot. Yes. I have a fellow Pride and Prejudice fan in here. That makes me excited. So all of these stories are ones that we tell over and over again because they're important to us. For some reason, they give us a sense of like unity as well as a sense of like that's how we pass on wisdom and different ideas. So what are some parts of the story, like some of your, think about your favorite story, what is it that sticks with you? Why do you like that story so much? The action. Sometimes they're exciting. What else? Mix of emotions, is that what you said? Mixed emotions, okay. Yeah. A lot of times you can relate to the characters. A lot of times in your favorite stories, you can relate to them, you understand what they're feeling, or maybe it speaks to something that you've gone through or that you know someone who's gone through. A lot of those are really important parts of stories. And so in the Bible, Jesus tells stories. When he was here on earth, he told a lot of stories to his gospels, to his disciples. That's how he sort of shared with them a lot of important truths, especially about the kingdom of God that he was announcing was coming with his death and resurrection. And a lot of those stories were parables. So they're just really simple stories that have some important lessons in them for his listeners. And so a lot of times when we talk about like defending our faith or things like that, we think about sort of debating. So we think about like arguing with someone and being like, no, you're wrong, like, and things like that. But that isn't really the most effective way to sort of share the story of Christ and what he did. So we should probably be following Jesus' example more than we follow our own example by debating. And consider telling them a story when we're trying to communicate with our friends our faith. But a lot of times, some of the best stories you can tell is your story. And so that's what we're going to talk about with our testimony. And so not all of your stories are the same. A lot of you may not even feel like you have a story, but you do. And it may not be really dramatic or super exciting, but it is important. And there are different things in your lives where God is working. And it's important to tell people those things. So like some of those stories, you might have like some big, clear turning points in your lives that you saw where something really changed pretty quickly. Or maybe that didn't happen and it was just sort of a slow, gradual, like learning and growing over time. So you might have both. And some might have different people that were invested in your lives that were part of your story. And some of them may have sad things, some of them may have really happy things and exciting things and ways that God blessed you. All of those are important to share with people who don't know Christ. So all of them, all of your stories fit into God's bigger story too. All of creation is telling God's story, and you guys. Each one of your stories and each one of your lives is a part of that story. And so what we should do is we should be sharing those stories with them out of love. And so we're going to look at 1 Thessalonians, and because that's an example of where Paul shared his story. So if you guys want to get in groups, we're going to read. So I'll pass out Bibles, and we are going to read 1 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 13. So if you guys just get in groups and you can read it together, I'll hand out Bibles. And then we will answer. There are a couple questions on the board. There are 4 of them. And answer those questions in your group after you read. All right, get in your groups.
1 Thessalonians what?
2, 1 through 13. Do you guys need Bibles back there?
No.
Ready?
Oh, okay.
Did you get it?
Yeah. Well, I've already started. 2.
Alicia, do you want me to pause and jump in a group?
Sure.